Hello and welcome to your Mining Disrupt news update for Monday, August 21st, 2023. As always, everything I say here should be taken for entertainment or education purposes only. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research. If you're interested in partnering with us as a sponsor, please reach out. Today we'll be going over 3 stories: the cost of Bitcoin mining depending on where you are in the world, a letter to the editor regarding crypto mining, and we need to have a chat with old Marty here who wrote the letter, and how Bitcoin is not priced in and we could be looking at a 100,000 price target sometime before the halving. Now, assuming you've subscribed and you've liked this and maybe left a comment down below to keep the conversation about Bitcoin going, let's get over to the numbers. Right now, the price is holding steady at around $26,000. It's exactly $26,185 per Bitcoin. And if you want to do dollars for sats, you will get 3,819 sats per dollar. The next halving is just shy of 36,000 blocks away. The 14-day average on the hash rate is 395. It is just blistering along right now, bringing blocks in at an average of 9 minutes and 22 seconds. That's 171 blocks in the last rolling 24 hours. All this means that the next difficulty adjustment will be an upward shift of 6.85%, and you can see there a new block was just found. Your on-chain transaction fee is a reasonable 8 sats per VByte for priority or any time. There's a lot of information packed into that one screen there, and if you are interested in learning so much more about Bitcoin, scan this QR code right down there and get your tickets to Mining Disrupt 2024. That's happening in Miami, Florida, June 24th through the 27th. This story is from Cointelegraph. Mining 1 Bitcoin in Lebanon is 783 times cheaper than Italy. Published on August 17th, the report from CoinGecko revealed that only 65 countries are profitable for solo Bitcoin miners, based solely on household electricity costs. That's important to note there. We're going to come back to that in a second. Among these, 34 countries are in Asia, while Europe only has 5. Now, the key thing to note here is that this is for household solo miners. This is not where most of the Bitcoin comes from. If you are solo mining at home, you're probably doing it for the decentralization, the freedom aspect, not so much the, oh, I'm going to get a bunch of money from this, because, well, it doesn't seem like it's going to work out for you. About a week ago, this story was published in the Buffalo News. North Tonawanda welcome Bitcoin miners. Some residents regret it. The takeaway is sort of mixed. There isn't a final conclusion of, oh, we all want it gone, we all dislike it. The reason I noted that last article is because this letter to the editor, it's not all that long, references that article. So I'm going to go through it here. I was greatly disturbed after reading the recent news article about cryptocurrency mining. Just a couple of questions. Why exactly does the world need cryptocurrency? And can someone please tell me the important social and moral values and contributions associated with mining cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency allows anonymous financial transactions that are perfectly suited for drug cartels, terrorists, and computer extortionists. So, we definitely need that. My limited understanding of cryptocurrency mining operations is that they function as a very expensive, resource-consuming printing press to manufacture high-tech money for a few owners and their shareholders. As a society, are we not better than that? How about expending the same amount of energy on feeding the hungry or housing the homeless? The expanding tragedy of misdirected energy and resources can only be solved if we all come together and make a focused effort to love one another and help one another. Can we please hang up phones and come to our collective senses? We have problems to fix, resources to allocate, people to love, people to help. Hang up, look up, re-engage with the world. Marty Walters, Derby. We all spend a lot of times on our phones, so if we reduce that by some small percentage, I think it would be a good thing, if only for our own mental health. So I agree with that. He also says we have problems to fix. Absolutely. There's always a problems to fix. Resources to allocate? Sure. These are just general statements. Yes, there are resources to allocate. Yes, these are statements of fact. People to love, people to help. Unquestionably. Now let's return to the beginning here where he says, why exactly does the world need cryptocurrency? Here's why the world needs cryptocurrency. Money needs to be able to move at the same speed that the economy is moving at. For the longest time, the global economy, not that there was for a long time, but the economy in the global sense was moving at the speed of horseback or boat. That was about as fast as you could go for the longest time. And then we moved into the semi-digital age where we had credit cards and checks and things were a bit quicker then, and you could move money around at a much faster rate than you could before. Once credit cards were online and you could do the whole swipey swipe thing, that was a bit faster, but then people figured out, oh, we could do this over phone lines and we can move it even quicker. And that was pretty quick. That's still pretty quick. But those credit cards don't settle for 180 days. You've got like 3 months before they actually settle. Now that we are in the digital age and we've got AI coming online and there are micropayments happening all the time so fast, we need something that can also match that pace. Nothing we have, Bitcoin aside, just setting that aside for a second, can do that. Credit cards cannot do that. Checks can't do that. And physical money sure as heck cannot do that. Bitcoin can do that. So to answer Marty's question here, the reason we need the cryptocurrency Bitcoin is because we need a money that moves as fast as we all do in this digital age. As far as his next question here, I'm going to touch on this one real quick. Can someone please tell me the important social and moral values and contributions associated with mining cryptocurrency? Yeah, 100%. Because if we have a hard, sound money, then politicians can't steal from us. Right now, the only people that can counterfeit money legally are politicians. They have the ability to go to the printing presses, and I mean this in a metaphorical sense. It's digital. It's digital. They tap some buttons and bada bing, bada boom. Here comes another billion, trillion, whatever dollars for some relief, something, some program, whatever. But they can do that legally. You and I can't do that. I can't go to my printing press. I don't even have one. But if I did, I could not legally counterfeit money. But the politicians can. They can counterfeit money. And there's nothing backing that money. Bitcoin is itself. It is the best money that has ever existed. So there is absolutely an important social and moral, truly a moral and ethical value to having a hard, sound money that nobody can debase. That is extremely moral. And this is going to be the last thing that I touch on here. Cryptocurrency allows anonymous financial transactions that are perfectly suited for drug cartels, terrorists, and computer extortionists. Okay, the number one means of black market transactions is cash. Cash is unquestionably the preferred method to move things around because you can't trace cash at all. There are means to track Bitcoin transactions. It's not nearly as private as cash. There is still a digital footprint that can be followed. And if you do online forensics and you do some digging and you have the means, which I'm sure the large 3-letter agencies do, they can figure out who moved what where. There's a lot of steps that you can take to mitigate that to some degree, but it's nowhere near as private as cash. The only way that you can know that somebody moved cash around is if you actually see it. You either watch them through your binoculars, you see them doing, you take pictures, like a spy movie or something, or you have cameras that see them doing it. But if you don't have those means, you don't know where it's happening, there's no way to trace it. There's none. And now we're going to end on some bullish news. I'm going to be showing you a clip here from Adam Back where he's talking about the price of Bitcoin and how it could hit 6 digits before the halving. If you don't know who Adam Back is, he's the fella that came up with proof of work.
There's a halving event to come, probably in the spring of next year. What impact will that have?
Well, I mean, it's something that there's some debate about whether it's priced in the market. You know, some people will say, oh, it's priced in, but I think because of the generally high volatility, rather other than the last month, it's quite hard to price in. And it also punctuates the 4-year halving cycle, sort of economic cycle of Bitcoin. And historically, Bitcoin's done well. You know, within 6 or 9 months after the halving, there's been a sort of price appreciation part of the cycle. Now, this time,
so what do you think is possible?
Well, I think it's possible that we get to, you know, a new all-time high, like 100,000 or more, even before the halving, simply for the reason that the last few years have been kind of a depressed market in general and in the crypto market through, you know, a number of bankruptcies and DeFi failures, things like that.
So you really think $100,000 is achievable in Bitcoin before the halving event? There's no fear that you're very resolute on that?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I infamously took a small bet with somebody on Twitter on that. It was just some conversation about whether it would happen or not. And this fellow said, well, let's bet on it. So I let him pick the price. And so we're on. Let's see if it happens.
You got skin in the game. Good man. Look, your company, you raised $125 million. You come from the mining industry, the mining sector. $125 million, do you need more money? What are you going to do with that money, briefly?
That was just the latest fundraising activity. And so we've probably raised about 400. We've been around since 2014. So it's primarily, well, there's two parts of it. One is layer 2 Bitcoin technology like Liquid, which is a securitization layer for Bitcoin and something we issue investment products on. And the other part is hosting. So we provide hosting for institutional miners. So people like Fidelity, we host all of their miners in our facilities. It's kind of like co-location for mining.
So you heard it right there from Adam Back himself saying that he thinks that 100,000 is totally possible, and he's got a bet going on that he thinks that will happen before the halving. So if we're looking at $100,000 Bitcoin before the halving, what does that mean after the halving as we go into that 18 month spree where commonly what's happened the last 3 halvings has caused Bitcoin to reach a new all-time high? And this is chucking out the really wackadoo prices where people will throw things out like, oh, we could hit $10 million by 2025. Yeah, sure. If hyperinflation hits the entirety of the world and burgers cost $300 and a tank of gas is $1,000 and your rent is $1 million, then sure, maybe Bitcoin goes to $10 million. But assuming we're leaving those really bizarre scenarios out, which I prefer to do because I, 1, don't want it to happen, and 2, don't think it will happen. I really hope it doesn't happen. I don't want to see a hyperinflationary world for anybody. But the more realistic price point that I'm thinking is somewhere in the range of 200,000 to 300,000. That is at the new all-time high before we enter a new bear market. Then we bottom out somewhere maybe around 75K, and then we go through this whole thing again. And then maybe we do indeed hit that price point of around $1 million by 2032 that Fidelity's talked about. And it's interesting that Adam Back mentions Fidelity right there. He's saying that they're providing hosting for mining services that Fidelity is doing. Why would Fidelity, which as of March of this year, 2023, having over 4 trillion in assets under management, why would they be interested in Bitcoin mining if there wasn't profits to be made? They're only doing that if they think that there's money to be made. And with all of the news coming out of BlackRock and Fidelity and ARK and on and on and on looking to get these spot ETFs, people want exposure to Bitcoin. And they're going to get it one way or another. Or you can always just get the Bitcoin itself. Now, the thing to remember when it comes to Bitcoin is you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can buy portions of it, all the way down to $1 worth. You can buy even less than that in some places, I think. But you can certainly get $1 worth. And right now, you get over 3,500 sats per dollar. Not a bad deal. Consider sats on sale. I hope you had a great weekend. Until next time.